What's up, everybody, and welcome back to I forgot the name of this podcast because I'm tired. It's been a long day. Damn, and plus it's been ages since we did this. But hi.
What do you mean? It's only been like a week.
I just looked up for the title because I literally forgot the title. Mouse Clicks and Joysticks, and I looked up the last episode, and that was June 17th. No, yeah, June 7th, 2017, sir. I mean, been a while. It literally is almost like we're literally almost to the day where we were at last episode, because that episode was about our E3 predictions.
Yup.
So yeah,
it's like one of the few big events in gaming. It's like,
I guess we're right on time then. Yep. I guess. But everybody, say what's up to Eurostrix, my co-host. Eurostrix, say what's up to the people.
I'm so used to my camera being up there. What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Ready to talk video games.
Oh yeah, I forgot about lower thirds. I don't have my camera on, so it don't matter.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, it's okay because this is a podcast. We don't need to be fancy. But, so if you've never seen this before, one, it's probably because it's been forever since we've done one. And two, just to keep you up to speed, this is a gaming podcast where we talk about gaming news and our opinions on different topics within the gaming world. So with that, let's start off with the light stuff. Of course, like I said, E3 is coming, and you're getting your leaks galore. One leak that had to be addressed due to what we're going to talk about after this is Rage 2 was announced by Bethesda Games. Going to be developed by Avalanche Studios, the people behind the recent Mad Max game, and the Just Cause series. And it is coming in 2019. I forget what the date was.
Early 2019.
Yeah, they said early 2019. Yeah, so
spring.
Yeah, and about a year from now, you'll be having Rage 2. If you don't remember what Rage is, I'm sure you're not alone, because a lot of people don't remember their post-apocalyptic type shooter that, oddly enough, kind of was like the Mad Max world.
Yeah, it was also pretty revolutionary. Wasn't that the new game on like
that was with their
85?
ID tech? Yeah, it was like the new ID tech.
And all I remember about the game, I'd have to go back and replay it, because I know I didn't finish it. I started playing through it a long time ago. God, that tells me how long that it was ago. I think I started playing that like right when YouTube was becoming a thing. Like playthroughs were becoming a thing. But ultimately what I remember about the game was like the game was pretty well praised. The biggest complaint was like the ending of that game. Something about that, I think, if I remember correctly, was like people were saying it was pretty bad. Or like the ending section of the game, like the last 10% or so. But people seem pretty happy about it. Like, I'm happy to see that we are getting a different Bethesda property, because Bethesda, we're getting an id game, and I'm happy for that, because I don't know, like, do we just want id working only on like another Doom, which I still think might come up because it is the 20th anniversary of Doom? Is it 20? I think it's 20 years. Don't quote me on that. It's some anniversary of Doom, I believe, this year.
Can't be 20 years. Doom has to be older than that. I seriously think.
Doom.
It may be Quake.
The original Doom came out 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's why I thought so.
In December. Yeah. December 1993. So yeah, it's 25 years. So people kind of expect what they did kind of with Wolfenstein. I mean, we got a new Doom, and the last Doom was super well received. And last year they announced and gave us Doom for VR, I believe. So I wouldn't be surprised if we seen Doom, but definitely seeing a new id game, and it being like Rage, because I remember Rage being pretty fun, and being pretty cool, and it was better than the Mad Max game for sure. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of. Are you surprised that they brought Rage back? Would that have been your guess of the game that they return to?
That wouldn't have been what I would have guessed, but I'm not surprised because you just mentioned did Doom. They did Quake Champions. They are bringing back their old shit. So okay, this is not a surprise.
Oh yeah, that's true. All that's left is Commander Keen, Rage, and stuff that they probably don't want to make another game of.
Yeah. So and they're bringing back some things that I know a lot of people had mixed feelings about Rage, but it had a certain level of popularity and success. So fuck it, why not?
Definitely. I believe it. Like I'm trying to remember. Like personally, I remember you used like instances. So like you drove to like a place and went down into a dungeon, I think ish or instance-ish thing. And I guess like I'm happy to hear it. I want to see what they're gonna do with it. The trailer, because the gameplay trailer has dropped. It looked cool, and it definitely looked in the vein of like if you're a fan of the Doom or the Wolfensteins, it's very over the top gunplay and just craziness going on screen. And then for part of a second, my brain almost clicked in it. Like I was like, that looks kind of Borderlands-y, but not at the same time. It's really weird. It definitely has.
The funny thing is, I think they both came out around the same time. I think Rage preceded Borderlands by maybe months, if not a year. So
that's ridiculous to me, though. Like, because that game really, it was. When did I say that Doom? When did Doom come out? Doom was 2011. No, that's iOS. It was the original release. Yeah, 2011. So it came out 2 years after Borderlands. The original Borderlands came out. So Borderlands actually beat it out of the gate. And it came out right before Borderlands 2 did, like a year before Borderlands 2 dropped. I need to see more of the game because it looks fun, but it looks for people that really just want a game that just go insane in. Just grab your gun and just blow shit up constantly.
Ow. Yeah, it's kind of funny that they got the Mad Max people to do a game that's like Mad Max. By the way, also I think I know what you were talking about. That's 20 years old. In literally 6 days, it'll be the 20th anniversary of Unreal.
Let's not talk about that. People are mad about that right now.
I'm just saying, it's true. People don't get pissy because Epic is on their Fortnite shit. Okay?
Well, I mean, like, if you had a game that literally is printing money, you had anything that was literally printing money, you telling me you're going to turn off the machine or not focus on the machine? Like, people got to understand there are a lot of other issues. And if to those out there that wanted Unreal, if Lawbreakers, and we'll probably talk about that briefly, Lawbreakers was any indication, while the market's there, I don't think the market for arena shooters is that big in the modern day.
Yeah, it probably isn't anymore, which is strange because I remember when that was the rage. Everybody said this is the trend of gaming, which is why I laugh at the people who love to champion the battle royale games as the way that gaming is going to be. Like, yeah, everything that was popular at one point was supposed to be what games were going to be all about.
Yep.
In the preceding future, it's like, no, it's just another trend, and it's just another piece of gaming. Speaking of Fortnite, really quick as an aside, how do you feel about Killmonger being in the game now?
I think it works. I still don't think it's going to be as I really don't think it's going to be as, I won't say normal. I don't think it's going to be as direct as people are kind of guessing at it. Because people have been asking for a lot of things. And I think Killmonger is one of those things that will get even the new skin at the end of Black Panther came out in fucking February. I had to think about this. The new skin, that's the final skin in this game, kind of gives off Killmonger suit-ish vibes. Which is really interesting. But I don't know if they're gonna full on. I can't see that happening for more than an event. Marvel Marvel and Disney like money way too much to do that, and they're not just going to let Fortnite just run with that. I feel like it's not confirmed yet. It'll be a thing, but I don't think that, because I mean they already have they have Rust Lord and supposed to Star Lord and a few other references in the game.
Yeah. I just feel like right now Epic is just flexing on people just to do it. Because it's just like, fuck it. Now we have a Marvel like tie-in. It's clear that Marvel is willing to do business with them on a permanent basis. Because it's just like they just put their two best villains in a video game from the two highest grossing movie.
I don't know. I feel like because everybody is still Fortnite is still everybody's waiting for the Fortnite bubble to pop, and I don't think I'd be willing to go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say Fortnite has a pretty good chance of being like the new League from a decade and a half ago or a decade ago, if that makes sense. Like how League just kind of took off and dominated platforms for years, and everybody kept saying, "Hey, when is?"
Well, the thing is, League still does, because League was able to grab its longevity in the tournament space. So, for better or for worse, it's just like certain games that fall off. Like, say for instance, Halo's not the biggest tournament game anymore, but it's still a tournament game.
Yeah, I just
Call of Duty, still a tournament game. StarCraft, still a tournament game. I think they persist a lot, and that's the thing. I don't know if Fortnite has that type of persistence.
I think the similar thing happened with League. Is if Fortnite's competitive scene is still not necessarily a thing yet. It's a lot of major teams have, a lot of major esports organizations have teams, but nobody has like there's not been a formal tournament. Epic
How do you make a team for that game?
4-man squads.
It's not as engaging.
It is battle royales can be really interesting to me, even more so with Fortnite, because of the inclusion of building. This can go into a very long conversation, but ultimately, what I would get at is that if it's able to get any type of traction with competitive, which I think it will, one thing that a lot of the games you mentioned don't have in common with both League as well as Fortnite is ultimately they both are free to play, and that is why ultimately, if you're not going up against a behemoth, in this case, say Blizzard with Overwatch versus Paladins, if you're not going up against a behemoth like that, if you're going up against other people similar in their space of like indie-ish studio, and yeah, like it's not an indie studio, Epic isn't. They have experience with Gears of War as a competitive game, and running tournaments, having a competitive scene in Gears, which was pretty big for a bit, or was getting big for a bit. I think it's going to take esports, and then Fortnite's just going to like ride up there. Fortnite's just going to be one of those games that everybody knows about and plays for like the next 10 years, and you'll start to see a decline probably 2 to 3 years from now. Fortnite isn't anywhere near close to popping, but I think that's why Marvel wants to work with it, because Marvel will see, Marvel sees like the growth possible there. Because again, it's Fortnite's had its controversies, Fortnite's had its problems, but ultimately, it's still growing. More people are still downloading the game. It's already transcended video game media and moved into mainstream media.
Yeah. And I think that's where it has its like it's gonna like burst, is because once it stops gaining the media, I think it's gotten lucky in the fact that one, for some reason, it's like now has the most popular Twitch streamer playing it. Which
I don't even know if I would say just the most. It's like,
well, the other thing is he's transcending cultures, and now you have all these celebrities dying to play with this guy who bringing other cultures, sports, music, and other entertainment formats into this whole thing. It's like, so it's throwing it to the mainstream. You got kids playing it on their phones because they know everybody else play it. It's like, it's become a serious pop culture thing.
And that's the thing. I think like Twitch helps, but ultimately it's a Fortnite thing. Like the reason why somebody would play Fortnite versus PUBG is, for lack of a better word, more like core gamery. It's not as bright and flashy. It's not as over the top.
Yeah, no, that's why I say this is more pop culture thing. Because thinking about it, I'm like, this is kind of like a like our modern day Pac-Man in a way.
I can see that.
Everybody played Pac-Man.
Definitely see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess because I'm looking at Twitch right now, and man, it's sitting in the #1 spot by almost double. Like it's sitting at like, we'll say 286,000. Overwatch is the second closest. It is actually more than doubled at 127,000, and League at about 103. So like ultimately, the games that normally would compete with it, that were unbeaten. Like it was that thing about like League was never beaten out. Then Overwatch did it, PUBG did it, Fortnite did it, and a few games have like beat it for a second. But like Fortnite is on a completely different level. And I think it goes to talk about the game though. Like it's just more of the game, and Ninja just happened to be in the right place at the right time. If that makes sense. Like,
by the way, on a off note, notice how Destiny's back in the top 15 again.
I'm like, I don't, as much as people talk, I'm just saying Destiny is one of those games that will always be top 15. Like when new content drops, it will immediately rocket back up there. And if Epic can just, if Bungie can just figure out how to keep people playing a little bit longer,
I wouldn't worry about the Twitch crowd. That's but that's for a whole nother topic.
Yeah. Well, we may get to that later. We may end up touching on Destiny a little bit later.
Yeah.
It
will come up. It will come up in the one of the next stories. So probably so. Fortnite. It's funny because I have fun playing it, but I'm not stuck on it like other people are. People are like so glued into this game. It's like,
I think
I understand.
Battle Royale is, it's a weird game. Like it's a weird genre that I think once you start to get a taste of it, it just is amazing. And Fortnite, the thing about me that it gets me is that Fortnite being free is what probably gets it as much popularity as he has. Because like when I say I've run into so many people that don't actually really build that often in that game, which that's the standout feature of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't get it. But it's like, okay. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. It's cool. I mean, hats off to you, Epic, and I wouldn't worry about making another game either, as long as I can milk it. Plus, they're playing with house money anyway, because even if this game falls to fucking apart, they're gonna always have money from the
Unreal. Unreal will always be one of the top 3 engines used in gaming.
Yeah, exactly. So they're fine with it. And the fact of the matter that most of their top competition uses Unreal means success for them.
So did you hear like what happened ultimately? So another game that was out, Paragon, when they shut that down, after Paragon shut down, they gave away like $12 million. They're giving away, solely releasing like $12 million worth of assets from Paragon into the just Unreal Engine for people to use if they want to, and to have publicly available.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like when you can kind of throw money around like that.
Yeah.
Like you didn't sell off.
They threw those assets out. That was so weird.
Some people might say like, yeah, nobody wanted to buy them. Whether or not somebody wanted to buy them, you could hold on to them and do something with it. The fact that you chose to release it says that you're kind of like,
you know how much money they spent creating those assets?
It's like we make enough money from Fortnite and the Unreal that us releasing 12 million in assets to people that want to use them is whatever. Like And for those that don't know, like the thing about Paragon was graphical fidelity was top notch. Like these weren't like just like shitty little.
No,
like,
that was a good looking game.
That was the game to show off Unreal 4 for a lot of people.
It must be nice to be able to play around like that.
Yeah, like I wish I could take like a 12 and just throw some zeros behind it. I'd just be throwing around 12 cents, and even then, I got to go pick it up. Like,
yeah, shit. Yeah, I can't even spend $10.
But yeah, I think Overwatch. See that, like, it even talks like Overwatch blew up, but now Fortnite is such a thing that like I'm looking at the top. To me, when I look at like Ninja is on another level. I feel like Ninja is such an outlier that I have to remove him from the conversation. And even when you do that,
yeah, no,
like it's
still popular though.
It's still 50,000 up.
Yeah, because I see, like, I'm looking at the, I'm browsing the category now for Fortnite, and it's like, yeah, he's over 100,000.
But I'm saying the top five.
That's what I'm saying. The next one is at 28,000. Like, that's
shout out to Myth, yeah.
You know, that's not.
I mean, are you looking like 4 and 5? I mean, yeah, you can argue the fourth, but the 4th and 5th spots were both considered faces of Twitch at one point. Like,
yeah, no.
To talk about, and that's not like to talk about how popular and how transcendent this game.
4, 5, and 6.
I mean, if I kept going down, like there's so many things that, like there's so many people here that are recognizable names, and it's become the game where even if you stream another game dedicated, you may occasionally dabble in this game.
Yeah,
like the amount of people that I know, they're like, yeah, I play League. I play Hearthstone. I play any and whatever game. I play Destiny. All right, let me hop on Fortnite for a little bit. Let me play a game or two because it's fun. It's still enjoyable. Ultimately, it has less to do with just being like good and more to do with, or less to do with the game being big and more for the game being good and fun and enjoyable. Mine is all over the place.
Yeah, but no, I mean, to your point, like you made earlier about like PUBG being a more core gamer thing. Yeah, a lot of people forget that most gamers just want to hop on and play and not necessarily go all out all the time. In Fortnite, you can go all out if you want, but you don't have to. And still get enjoyment.
As a side to you really quickly, there have been rumors starting to speculate that Epic, in-game files, it's been data mined that there seems to be some type of a competitive playlist coming. So if that happens, then Fortnite will. Competitive gaming is something that ultimately will keep it. Like, Epic did not build this game with esports in mind.
It wasn't supposed to be about the PvP at all. That's the funny part.
Well, I mean that's real success for those that don't know, right? That's the real success of the internet. The real success of the internet is not doing a Blizzard. We're Blizzard, so we're gonna make an esport, right? The real success is like, hey, people aren't really messing with PvE. I have always said this since the first time I picked up Fortnite PvE, the day it came out. The funnest part of that game is the building mechanics. Straight up is what makes or breaks like that. What makes that game is the building. And they're like, all right, cool, let's take that, shove it into a battle royale situation since PUBG is blowing up. And after Battlegrounds started to blow up, all of a sudden people were like, hey, I want to play a battle royale game. Well, here's Fortnite. It's free. You don't have to pay the $60 or whatever it was for battle royale, and like that took it off, and they just ran with it. Like, shoot, man, they stumbled into that in the best way possible.
Yeah, they did. Like, I wish I was that lucky in life. Good Lord, they fell into a gold mine.
Because like even still, like people, to anybody that thought Epic planned this, Epic has basically for the past, like, since this really started to take off, been hiring people. I saw their community manager tweet out the other day, they have like 300 hiring positions at Epic right now. Like, that should tell you how well Fortnite is doing and how much more they want to push the game. They push out updates weekly. Epic knows what they're doing. But like with everything, everything's not going to be hit or miss. We're going to see when they have a really bad patch. Like, that's what I'm personally waiting on. Is the first, like, horrible patch of Fortnite that everybody is like, this is the worst thing ever.
Do you think they will?
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
Ultimately, what it's going to come down to is Reddit and top streamers. So far, people like Myth, people like Ninja, they are good in the sense of both of them seem to come across as more teachers. They seem to come across as more of like level-headed and analytical minds that'll say like, hey, this is good, this is bad. There's still people that are willing like to criticize a lot harsher and talk about, well, this is bad, this is good. But a lot of the people seem to, in my opinion, give like much clearer analysis versus saying like, this is just trash. Like, try to be like, all right, what are they trying to do with this? Why does it work? Why doesn't it work? It's one of the reasons why, to me, they're super entertaining, is that people aren't just out here saying, yo, this gun is overpowered and broken. Like, they're able to talk about why is it broken? What should they do? Why is good? Why is it good? Why is it bad? But ultimately, that's how that happens, Black. Is like, if you have somebody big enough that's like, yo, this gun is completely broken, which there have been broken weapons in Fortnite. Epic's been pretty quick to turn around, and I think that has to do with some of their other gaming ventures that they realize, yeah, they put out a patch every week. So if they break something, they can kind of swap it up like immediately. And it's pretty easy to do stuff in Fortnite.
Yeah. No, shit. They will be sitting on a mountain of gold for a while.
Definitely. Wow. Black, I'm telling you. Watch the first Fortnite tournament that happens. Watch the first Fortnite tournament that happens. That's going to be one of those things that's going to, like, easy going to break, like, a ridiculous, like, probably break records on Twitch without even having to think about it. 100% will probably break records on Twitch.
Yeah, no, it's already broke records. Remember, Ninja had the highest stream ever.
That's just mind-boggling. His numbers, like, that's not even the highest stream ever.
No, for an individual.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like, the joke has always been like, oh yeah, like, oh, they broke it. He destroyed it.
Yeah.
And destroyed it in like 15 minutes. Destroyed it. Like, when that tweet went out, 15 minutes later, it was done.
You know, the whole Drake thing. But he's constantly been playing with all these people who I don't really care about. But
no, but I mean, that's the internet. Like, ultimately comes down to is like, to be honest, I think that was less of Ninja, like, and more of like, it was almost mutual. Ultimately, like, if you're somebody like a Drake, if you're somebody like super popular, who are you gonna play with? Like, the most popular person. That's not to be rude, but like, one of the people that's in the top 10 is gonna get that every single time. And it just so happened to be Ninja. Everything went right, and it turned into a lot bigger of a thing than what it was originally. But I'm happy. I'm happy for Fortnite. Unlike some dark places on the internet where people hope that it fails.
Well, you know, people are always going to be morbid and want that because they hate to see success. It's neither here nor there. Like, get your own success. Stop shitty, please.
What do you mean? I'm not being shitty.
Yes, you are. You're being shitty. Being shitty little children.
But I think we started this off talking about E3 and somehow got to.
Well, no, because I did send the Fortnite. I mean, the Fortnite article. So it is a part of the discussion.
I mean, it's Fortnite. My thing is, it's the same thing that happened with the Wii. Black. We made it onto daytime television where people were like, "This is a great thing for you and your kids to play. You can also be active. It's a healthy. And the Wii ballooned. Mainstream media, mainstream like understanding is what ultimately is needed to transcend just like being a good game, like being a known game amongst gamers. Because I've had people that I know don't fuck with games like that, like straight up be like, "Oh, what? Oh, Fortnite? Yeah, I know what Fortnite is. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got it on my PlayStation or my Xbox, and yeah, I play Fortnite. I got it on my phone." And the fact that they've done that, like they got it on every. You can play it except for Android.
It's cross.
Except for that's the competitive side of me does not like that, but that's a completely different conversation. I think they won't have it for competitive play, so I think that'll be fine. Fortnite. Our Lord and Savior Fortnite will soon save all of gaming. Along with other rumors this year that, Black, you thought that shooters were bad. You thought that horde modes were bad. Well, get ready for the time of the Battle Royale.
And everybody wants to put Battle Royale and everything, and it's not for everything.
There are rumors of Black Ops.
I know
4 and Battlefield both having.
Get rid of the campaign, but adding that. Come on, really? It really bothers me. It really bothers me that that all these games are reconstructing themselves and their makeup just to grab this thing. Don't end up like Cliffy B now, trying to ride the wave. See what happens.
Dude, all right, so do you want to touch on Boss Key? Like,
sure, we can touch on Boss Key.
Boss Key. Radical Heights could have been all right. Like, I know a lot of people that liked Radical Heights because it fell somewhere between Fortnite and PUBG. It was more shootery like PUBG in terms of like serious shooting mechanics, but it still kind of had that zaniness of Fortnite. Now saying that Cliffy B doing what he did is kind of all right. Look, don't put that game out knowing your studio is going under and put out like because the day it came out, it had like a $120 microtransaction, like from the jump on early access. And I was like, that does not feel good. I don't ever wish for people to lose their jobs, but like ultimately, y'all went out on a limb for a passion project, Bosky. Y'all made Lawbreakers, which had a plethora of issues. But
Lawbreakers was cool though.
It was cool for what it was, but it was bigger than the market that wanted it. Also, I think that game was ridiculously hard to play.
Really?
Like, yeah, like the skill ceiling on that game was ridiculous.
Probably.
You could get in and get around, but then you find those people that never touch the ground in a match and are hitting you going 200.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, it was one of those games that the skill floor was decently high. I mean, like, think about Fortnite. Fortnite, you can pick up and understand the basics of building. Even if you don't really build, you can pick up and understand how to fire a gun. But ultimately, like, I don't know. I think things will work out. Things will work out in the end. But yeah, Bosky, Cliffy. The only other thing that I'm gonna comment about, keep in mind, I appreciate you for a lot of things you have done. Gears and some stuff you've done in gaming. Next time, don't tell your employees not to go get other jobs, especially if you know your company is dying, and don't do it publicly anyway. If you're going to do it at all. That to me is the biggest dick thing. Is he took money from consumers as well as like was complaining that other people were like stealing his employees when really people were just trying to like confirm their own livelihood.
Yeah, like if I don't think we're doing well, I need to find another job because you go out of business. Like now, the fuck am I gonna do?
And like the gaming community is in terms of like a developer standpoint, is like that. Like having connections, and you probably know people at other companies. It's why whenever you see a studio shut down, if you follow enough developers, people will be like, "Hey, yo, send your resumes over to this person, and we'll try to get some extra people here." And people end up generally being able to land on their feet as long as you like have been in the industry or know people in the industry, because the industry is a very assisting thing to like help other people out. That's why I don't like. I wonder if there's bad blood between, because it was Epic, right, that got some of his employees, right?
Probably.
I think that's when he came out and said like they shouldn't be stealing his employees. Like I wonder if there's any
That's stealing. That's the thing.
I wonder if there's bad blood still between him and Epic, because I mean I wonder how he feels about Epic selling off Gears to Microsoft. That's a whole nother, like, it's a rabbit hole that only goes deeper, that I probably shouldn't speculate on, because I do not know enough about.
I feel like he wishes he would have stayed long enough to do it. That's all. I honestly look, Cliffy B, you did a great job with the creation of Gears. Mind you, you didn't invent the idea of like, the what do they call it? What do they call those shooters? The cover shooter.
Yeah.
You didn't invent the wheel. You just actually made you sand down the edges so it would ride smoother, so to speak. So, that's all fine and dandy, but let's not pretend like he wouldn't have done the same thing. He wouldn't have bailed, because you probably would have bailed on certain things on that if you had it. If you could go back to it all over again, you would have been like, well, we're not making Gears anymore. And like, when's the last time he actually worked on the Gears? Gears 1, right? Because he didn't necessarily work on Gears 2 and 3.
Work on it? Yes. I don't think he was a. Let me see.
Like, I know he produced and stuff, but I don't think he actually was like, right. That's just like David Jaffe getting fucking upset if Sony don't want to make the God of War.
Listed as a designer on Gears 2.
I feel like that's because of assets in the game. I don't feel like that's because he actually did anything.
He's still a designer on Gears 3. The real telling thing comes Gears Judgment. Because did Epic make Gears? Gears Judgment.
No, people something could fly. People
fly, like that. He is not listed on that one.
I feel like he only gets the designer thing because of assets. He really probably didn't like shit.
The original Gears games, he like was always the forward in the manual of the game, and he always signed it.
Right.
It's one of those things I remember distinctly about the Gears, was like opening it up, and he had a nice Gears 1 was really dope, because he had this like idea explaining like, oh yeah, this blah 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 blah. This is Gears and where it came from and all this other shit. But yeah, I feel kind of, that was the one scummy thing, is just it feels like, and I guess you could put it to desperation, right? That like the ship was sinking, and so you have to do something desperate to try to save the thing. And you made a pretty good battle royale game, but I think the thing that's been learned is that when it comes to battle royales are the new survival games. Only two have, or only one technically is fully launched, I think, at this point. Only one has reached full release at this point.
Yeah, that's PUBG.
Fortnite's still technically in beta. Paladin scrapped theirs because their entire community told them it was trash, or reworking it completely. And then you have all the mobile clones, but I don't necessarily consider them like...
Yeah. Exactly.
And then there's some like other ones, but I don't think any of them are fully out of beta yet. I think a lot of them are very much discovering themselves. And to say that Fortnite, I always say there's the rule of two, maybe three in any genre. I don't know if you get that, Black.
No, the funny fucking thing is, I was just listening to somebody talk about this on the podcast, and they reminded people of how he was the one who made the exact same comment that you just made. When he first started Bosky, first started Lawmakers, he went on this whole spiel about how, like, there's right now Overwatch, and I forget what else he said. He was like, our goal is to be one of the top two, because generally speaking, in games like this, the two get the most, and then like if anything, you want to at least try to be the third, but you always want to be one of the two.
Like, to give people an idea, for the last 10 years, it's been MOBAs. League, Dota, and then Smite was number 3.
Right.
And number 3 is switched between Smite, Han, a couple of different games, but League and Dota are the 2 games up there. For those of you on consoles, Call of Duty and Battlefield. Yes, when a new Halo came out, it popped up there in popularity. Yeah, when a new Gears came out, it would jump up there in popularity. Killzone would be there on PlayStation. Uncharted would be there on PlayStation. You know, everybody kind of had like this third option. But for the most part, Call of Duty and Battlefield were the 2 leaders. There's always like these 2 to 3 people up at the very top. And the thing is, I don't think we've seen the third player, but right now you're competing with Fortnite and PUBG. The arcadey Call of Duty is a lot more arcadey than Battlefield is. Battlefield is not super realistic, but it doesn't need to be super realistic when its main competitor is Call of Duty, who's a lot more arcadey. So the arcadey won Fortnite, and then you have PUBG. Fortnite's going to be a lot more popular as well because it's free.
Right.
Like Fortnite's PvE version, and that's the other thing. Like, people are still talking like the PvE version goes free to play later this year. So like that's gonna get people playing as well. Like, once you are able to say like, hey, yeah, you get both of these for free. Here's skins. Here's more content. Fortnite has like all the right things to be set up. I wonder who's gonna be the third player. What do you do to make something interesting that holds people's attention? You have H1Z1. H1Z1 was a thing for a while. I just thought about. It was really big, and it ultimately is, I guess, number 3.
Technically, that's gonna stay 3 because
I mean, but they did like a car version of their battle royale recently, which was kind of interesting to watch. It just dropped on PlayStation 4, which is going to help its popularity a lot.
All right.
So yeah, I guess we have a big 3, which is really weird because now you as a developer, if you're thinking of making a battle royale game, who are you going to try to take out? H1Z1 more than likely. How are you going to do that? How are you going to take out H1Z1? Because right now, like, if you're a small indie studio, you can't keep up with Epic, nor can you really keep up.
I think that was ultimately the issue with Boss Kids, that they were trying to keep up and they weren't established enough to actually do that. They couldn't just live off Cliff Bielanski's name. I think he overestimated his weight.
If Lawbreakers had survived more than like 2 weeks, I think they might have been all right. But that game died immediately.
Yeah, it fell off a cliff.
Yeah, like straight up. I'm just thinking of it. You can't even an Epic doesn't just try to reinvent the wheel. Like, the replay system has a lot of its grounding in Paragon, where they worked and tweaked and improved their replay system, and it's an amazing replay system. Similarly, like, they're able to pump out small updates every week to make adjustments so the game constantly feels new. A new gun was just added today. The Burst AR was just added today to the game. We just lost Thanos mode. You have like a whole bunch of different things. Like, if you're trying to, the reason Epic managed to somehow make a battle royale on multiple platforms that is the most stable running and the most consistently changing battle royale, and they started 6 months to a year after the other major players, at least 6 months to a year after the major players in the space. So yeah, go play Fortnite.
Yeah, and hopefully, as Cliff Bielanski says, he can go and reflect before he comes back. I will say this: another reason I don't feel bad for him is because he threw out the dying dog thing for sympathy, which I understand, but you know that's not damn well why you decided it's time to take time off and all that. Because, yeah, come on. You try to like throw the sympathy thing is. I feel bad, and I hope your dog goes peaceful or whatnot or whatever. But yeah, whatever, dude. Stop.
I hope you find inspiration to do something super interesting and fun.
and something that's more of your own. At least Gears was sort of your own. God damn, you just basically tried to ride the wave twice. You fell off. You're still there for it.
But he went back 10. Like, no, you could look at Quake Champions and Unreal and see that they weren't like blowing up like that.
Yeah. No, I mean they had their popularity, but they were usually the secondary stuff. I mean, I think Unreal was probably more popular because at the time when Doom kind of like stepped to the side.
Yeah.
You know. So
I mean you had to download, like, Epic's launcher was a thing that nobody knew existed till Fortnite was a thing. Like, a few people knew, but that's how you got Unreal Tournament. And if you weren't playing Unreal, if you weren't playing Paragon, using the Unreal Engine, Shadowrun, maybe, that's how you got it for free that one time. Like, man, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, back to the E3. So, apparently Walmart, of all people, leaked a shit ton of E3 games. And the list is kind of impressive, to be quite honest. You see a lot of games that, of course, some have already been revealed, like Rage 2. Basically, I guess Bethesda was like, fuck it. We're gonna just go ahead and
people are already speculating that even before the leak happened. Because that was where I saw a lot more of the anger. Like, please don't announce Rage 2. Who wants Rage 2? Give us another Doom or something like that. But basically, Rage 2, I feel like there isn't even that much of a reason to try to keep things hidden as much anymore. I guess everybody wants that big reveal moment.
Well, yeah, I would want that too. I personally want that from the personal standpoint. I want that because I don't need to know everything like all y'all need. Like you mentioned earlier, something that was data mined where people got an idea from. It's like, I hate data mining. I fucking loathe that shit.
My issue is that I don't mind it. What it comes down to is like people run with data mining stuff way too hard, or with like needing to know everything,
and that's why I hate it.
Data mining, it could be completely just somebody left something in there that wasn't supposed to still be there. Like it was just named something and it wasn't necessarily.
But why are you so in like a rush to know it? Why can't you just sit?
Because you got to understand, knowing something that somebody else doesn't means something.
Exactly what I said. It really doesn't anymore because you're so quick to throw it out there. How is it meaningful?
Well, I do it first.
Huh?
Well, I do it
and that's the only thing. It's like I get the social media rub because of that. That's it. Otherwise, it has literally no meaning whatsoever, in my opinion, because there's no value to it. It's just like, okay, we already know. So when we get to these moments where we're supposed to like celebrate games and sit there like we used to and wonder like what these people going to do. Like, I really love the fact that that E3 when you first got the Xbox One and PS4, Sony had surprises for you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. You know, and Microsoft had a couple of surprises for you too. I love that. But now it just feels like everybody's just like, fuck it. I can't surprise you no more.
So it's a money thing. Like, if somebody comes up to you, Black, and says, hey, I'll give you $10,000 if you can get me information about this, or give me a piece of information about blah, blah, blah. As long as you know that you can do it anonymously.
But that's the thing. Most people aren't getting paid. They're just jumping on social media because they know. That's it's like, it's not like there's value.
I mean, that comes down to devs though. Like with with a lot of things, devs will put stuff in games, and it's just people now have powerful enough computers to where they can.
I don't care. You don't have to say it. You can sit and share it amongst your friends that you know won't talk.
But you know somebody. It's the thing. It was like, are you gonna let somebody else?
Share it at all, but you don't have to share it at all.
But are you gonna let one of your friends be the people to break the news story, or are you gonna do it?
I'm not concerned. And that's, again, that I guess this goes to my mentality. I'm not concerned in being the guy to break the news story.
See, I understand that, and then in the phrasing of the internet, but what about the clout? The clout is what's important, Black.
Yeah, and this is why I always said I'm horrible at YouTube, because I'm not enamored with this idea of being like first to the ground with stuff. It's like I actually want to like enjoy the moment sometimes.
Sometimes
It would be, most of the times, to be quite honest, because it ain't fun always being the person to spoil someone else's joy too.
Oh,
in my
see,
opinion.
I'm not.
That's
gonna
the
lie.
thing.
See, I can't say that because I definitely was like, there was a part of me in the back of my mind being like, you could just like fuck with people. Because one of the funniest videos to me when I was growing up was the dude that was like in his car at the release of the final Harry Potter book, just riding through the line, just shouting out random stuff with the book open to random pages. Like he wasn't actually spoiling anything, but it was because like the reaction was funny. But I'm like, but do you want to be that dick? Do you want to be the person that spoils stuff? And to some people, the reaction is worth it. The way people like will twist themselves like backwards because of this thing. Like when you have grown men on their knees sobbing because something was announced, people like to have that idea of power. Like, oh, I can mess with people like this. Oh, cool.
And that shows how much of a pathetic human being you are. To be quite honest, like it just really shows how pathetic you are to do that. But in this instant,
like ultimately, like trolling became a thing of like becoming a troll became a desired lifestyle versus like it's like being a bully went from like, I don't know, like people are bullies for a reason to like, yeah, but bullies can be cool and have their own backstory too.
And no, they don't, because you're not a bully. What you are is just somebody who's wanting for attention and who needs to feel special. And this is the only way you can get it, by causing people pain, because you live a miserable, pathetic life. And the only way you know how to like remedy it for yourself is to try to see if you can make people as miserable, if not more, as you are. So that means that you're not even human anymore. You're a fucking piece of shit. And you deserve all the pain that you get in ways, because you're willing to put pain or disappointment on other people, which is sad. It's pathetic. So now I don't like anybody who like celebrates themselves for being a troll or celebrates trolls. Y'all need to go get some psychotherapy and get your life.
I don't know. I feel like most people aren't good at trolling though. Like that's
they're not.
I have an appreciation for good trolls, like because a good troll is not trying to be malicious. They're trying to elicit a reaction, but they're not directly trying to be malicious about it.
Yeah,
like it is not trolling nor a good troll to swat somebody. That's not trolling. It's being stupid. But like if it's a harmless like joke based on somebody being gullible is ultimately to me what the best type of troll is. Being able to convince somebody of something either ridiculous or whatever that is ultimately harmless. If it is not harmless, then what you're doing is not trolling. You're being an asshole. And those are two things that I feel like should be made seen as a distinction. There's like, don't be an asshole. I know internet is hard, but just don't be an asshole. But if I had to ask you of the leaks, Black, what of the leaks have you the most excited?
Well, I mean, as much as I hate them, looking at some of the stuff that I see, it's kind of funny because it's like they're leaks, but are they leaks?
Most of the stuff is
because it's like most of the stuff is like stuff that we knew was coming, they don't have dates, so they don't necessarily confirm anything. It's just like we know there's a Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Okay, but we don't know if there is going to be a Splinter Cell, even though we have rumors that they're working on it. So, okay, that might be something.
Microsoft, when was the last time Microsoft had a press conference that didn't have a Forza game in it?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're telling me Forza Horizon 5 is coming. Whoop-de-doo. And I'm gonna send you this link that actually has a enlarged picture of that article, so you can actually see everything that's on the article.
Going with that, right? How many Lego games are being released consistently now?
Well, yeah, it's like okay,
you don't know the specifics, but it's the idea of like if somebody were to tell me, "Hey, there's another."
Well, it's just some of it's like extra stupid common sense. Ooh, you mean there's going to be another WWE 2K19 and another NBA 2K19? Yeah, we already know they come out every year. What the fuck are you telling us that's new? Like,
and then I mean, there's some stuff like anybody that has been paying attention to Destiny 2 knows that we're getting some type of big content piece in September.
Yeah, so that's not new.
That wasn't like the idea is it might be news to the greater public, but Destiny has always talked about this it's almost like a TikTok cycle of where it's like game drops, 2 expansions, massive-ish expansion, a couple more smaller expansions, new game.
Yeah, like I guess the biggest surprise is they put Assassin's Creed on here. But again, I don't know when these games are coming out.
Yeah, like my thing is if they say, hey, because Ubisoft said they don't want to release Assassin's Creed every year. Cool. Ubisoft comes out and says, hey, here's the next Assassin's Creed. It's set in Japan. It comes out next year.
Yeah. But none of these games have release dates. That's the thing that like kills it. It's like you don't know when these things are coming. I have no idea.
But I think everybody is hoping for like the big surprise like Bethesda did that one year. Where Bethesda got on stage and basically announced one of their biggest properties, that being Fallout, was coming back. And then immediately afterwards, they were like, oh, yeah, it's coming back in 5 months. That doesn't happen very often. First of all, the fact that, like, you could keep it a secret if it's coming out in 5 months is the first issue.
Okay, but you got the big thing open, right? The bigger picture. Did you click on that link?
Let me see.
Click on that link and walk through this with me.
You tossed it. Oh, you tossed it in here. All right. Yeah. I was looking for it. I was like, I don't see the link. All right, cool. Yeah. All right, yeah. I got it pulled up.
Okay, so right off the bat, Division 2.
We knew it was a thing.
We knew that was a thing. Did they say what year it's coming out in that trailer too?
No, I don't believe so.
So again, this thing gives me no information.
It's expected to come out late this year, early next year, I believe, is what most people speculate.
This don't confirm that it is coming out because this is not an ad from.
And this is this thing. If it does not have box art, and if its date says 12/31/18,
it's just like a mock-up pre-order ad. It's
for those that don't know, my Kingdom Hearts has been updating me every 6 months to a year. And that's for like 3-4 years now, 5 years, where it's like, hey, it's coming out September, blah, blah, blah. Oh, nope. December 31st next.
But okay, so
it's just
the question, you just brought up a good example because Kingdom Hearts, did they ever give any official?
No, like they said that 2018 is supposed to be when it comes out.
Okay.
I have personally said if it is a Square Enix game, if you do not have a hard date, you don't believe it. Okay. Anybody that's wondering, what do I mean? Final Fantasy 15. If it's a Sony game, Last Guardian, like there's so many games that I can point to and be like, hey, if you do not have a hard date, and even then, if the date is not here, as a Kingdom Hearts fan, my rule is I refuse to let myself like sink into pure excitement until I see that the game is in my hand.
Okay. But no, for the purposes of this is why I brought that up because they have said 2018. This game's not on this list. A lot of people are taking this list to mean these are the games that are coming out this year. people, this does not mean that, because if you really look at the article, you have blank box art and you just have the label pre-order now. What this looks like is somebody decided, okay, we know all these games are eventually going to come out or possibly are being made. That's probably the only thing that they may have gotten right. And they just did a bunch of box art.
And
they just did a bunch of tabs
that are like,
but
why would they put it in here if they're not going to, like, eventually. In the last few days, Metro Exodus got delayed to next year. So a game that previously had a release date in 2018 has already been pushed back to next year. Meaning there are very few games, and this is just a business standpoint, there are very few games, unless you are a flagship title for a system, that you can get away announcing 6 months away from release.
Yeah.
3 months away from release. If you are not a flagship title, this is not like hip hop or music where you can just drop and like it'll be okay. You have to give people a chance to build up, people a chance to plan. Games are $60. People got to figure out, what am I getting? What am I not getting? Like, I'm looking at this list right now, and the only two things that to me seem like even the things that aren't there, we all knew that Super Smash Bros. Switch was coming out this year. We got that confirmation.
Yeah.
Cool. The Final Fantasy remake, we haven't heard when that's coming out. Oh, wait. Last of Us 2, that's oddly specific. You don't think that there's a subtitle there. You don't think Splinter Cell has a subtitle. You don't think that, I don't know.
Well, this is like the Destiny Comet thing. Wasn't that one of the title of, like, when they did that whole roadmap back into, like, before the first Destiny one?
Comet is the, like, code name they use for the bigger expansions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like the what is it? Like the recently that just came out, Osiris and Warmind. Those aren't considered common expansions, but like Taken King was what Comet was. Like it was a bigger expansion than normal that could even affect gameplay. And so for them to say Destiny Comet just might mean like it's a code name, and it's just the idea of everybody knew it was already existing. The only things that are shocking on here are basically stuff nobody asked for. Right? Like nobody thought there was Gears 5 was dropping this year. Not a significant portion of people. Nobody was looking for Just Cause 4 right now. People have been looking for Borderlands 3, but like what's the saying, Black? A broken clock is right 2 times a day.
Right.
If you keep making Borderlands 3 cover art, especially when the creator gets on stage and says, yeah, our company is working on what most of y'all want us to be working on.
Yeah, and he said after this came out, there's not going to be Borderlands 3 at E3, right? He said that today. He's like, come on. Yeah, he just said that shit.
I'm going to believe that's a lie.
And it could be, but he said not at E3, so that don't mean that it can't be anyplace else. He's just not ready. Like, y'all making him do it now.
I think it won't show up. I think it's all but confirmed though. Like to me, that's one of those things that people don't get is if you're out there being like, well, why won't they show off Borderlands 3? Because they don't need to. We know.
Yeah, and maybe they just don't want to do it right now.
But we all know that it's coming. Right? It's I don't know, it's ridiculous. My brother is being a dick. I do apologize.
It's cool. It's background music. Anyway. But yeah, no, this whole list to me, it's like people are over analyzing and getting way too. Hey, Bungie is live. Why are you live, Bungie? Oh, they're playing somebody. Interesting. I don't know. They're playing somebody. I guess they're trying to get back to how you remember how they used to do the everybody versus lobbies versus certain teams.
Oh.
Yeah, looks like they're doing a versus series again. That's
Oh.
nice. Funny how things change, ain't it? Like you go back from being everybody's most hated game to being the most loved game in the world. How special is that? All right.
All right.
Next topic. So, I gotta pull up the list now because that was a lot of stuff.
But yeah, for those wondering specifically, a lot of the bigger stuff. So we had Splinter Cell, Just Cause 4, Dragon Quest II, Destiny Comet, Borderlands 3, Assassin's Creed, Lego DC Villains, Rage 2, Forza Horizon 5, Gears of War 5, which that's the only another one that I will comment and say is not coming out.
Now Halo gotta come out first.
It's been, I was talking to Black with this right before we started. It's been 3 years since a Halo game has been talked about. Well, no, because you had Halo Wars, but it's been for a mainline shooter Halo to be talked about. It has been 3 years. It has been way too long. Microsoft likes some money, so we're gonna go with they're gonna print it out. Beyond that, Division 2, Insurgency Sandstorm, which we knew was a thing. So Just Cause 4, the 2K19 games. What else? Smash, Metroid Prime 4. Final Fantasy Remake Beyond Good and Evil, which we also knew was a thing. And I think that's pretty much all of the new special stuff that people weren't expecting.
All right. Whatever. Let's I would love to go back to the days where people weren't so pressed to put this stuff out.
It's the internet, because information travels so fast, information gains so much more power.
Whatever, y'all just be dicks. Anyway, and save that. Let this Black. It's okay to be surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
Do you want to jump into, I guess,
all right,
the various companies now and what maybe we want to see from each company?
Yeah. So we'll start with Nintendo. Not out of them being the lesser. For all you Nintendo fans, just that's the first thing that pulled up was Nintendo. So. Right. Don't hate me for that. All right. So Nintendo, of course, is going to do their Treehouse thing. And they're also going to do their Nintendo Direct on, I believe it's
Tuesday,
the 12th.
Yeah,
June 12th.
Tuesday the 12th. Yeah,
at 9 a.m. Pacific time, which is
it's
actually
noon here.
Better for them. Yeah, I was about to say that's actually better because generally speaking, they were doing it at 10 a.m. our time.
That's because they be on Japanese time hella hard.
But yeah, no, they used to do it at 10 a.m. my time, so that's kind of a change for them.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what they bring. They've announced or hinted to a lot of different games over the last, and it's funny because I saw somebody talking about trying to compare them to what they're going to have at E3 and what Sony is and how they're quote unquote destroying Sony, because that's how people like to frame things. It's all those games that they've announced over these directs don't necessarily have to show up.
I mean, even beyond that, to those that are there's such a thing as mutual success.
Yeah, that too, because it's why are you pitting them against? It's funny if there's anybody who you're not going to pit against, is Sony and Nintendo, because they don't seem to want to war against each other.
Yeah, actually, two of them is yo, let's just gang up on Microsoft.
Yeah, they're both rooting for each other, if anything. So yeah,
and even so, that's because most of the companies now are willing to hit people up. And be
they tweet each other all the time.
Congrats on God of War, doing well. I'm hey, I like to see that.
Feel like people need to get over the gaming wars thing, because these people aren't warring with each other. Yeah, they're in competition business wise, but it's not like the old Nintendo Sega things where they were both trying to take each other's lives. They're no.
They all have different markets they're trying to get.
Yeah.
They're fine now. But for Nintendo, speaking of what's supposedly coming out, based on a lot of rumors and speculation right now, the major 3 things they're going to show off, I should say 4 because we had something recently that may have leaked or appeared. First and foremost, Super Smash Bros. Is coming to Switch. We know this. They plan to have, I believe, a tournament or something around E3 time.
Yeah, you actually can sign up for that
to show up, and they have a lot of major personalities. Zero, I believe Mewtwo King. So people from both Smash Melee as well as Smash 4, the major scenes for competitively for Smash, which are supposed to be there. We're gonna get a chance to see a new Pokemon RPG on the Switch, a core Pokemon RPG on the Switch, which should be good. That was one of those things that I think was also another Switch seller. Once you get a Pokemon game on a platform, Nintendo platform, automatically people are going to buy it. Pokemon just is one of those things that has.
When was there the last console Pokemon? Seriously,
I believe it was Pokemon Coliseum 2. Let me check. I believe Pokemon Coliseum 2 for the Wii. Was there a sequel to Coliseum? Or am I? Yeah, XD Gale of Darkness. Or I guess, I mean, you could say Pokken Tournament, the fighting game.
Yeah, it was.
You had Battle Revolution on the Wii. Battle Revolution on the Wii would have been the last, I guess you could say, major one. That was like a Pokemon.
A proper Pokemon.
Yeah, a Pokemon battling game, we'll say. But it didn't have a story mode to it either. It was just kind of like battling. But yeah, since then we have not had one. But it does not surprise me though that we're due for one. I think ultimately when it comes to a console game, Pokemon is the one game that, like, perfect for the Switch, because the Switch is in that middle gray area of console and handheld.
Yeah,
like a Pokemon game on the Switch is definitely interesting me because you can do a lot more with the hardware than you could with a DS. And then last but definitely not least, Bandai Namco is supposedly working on Metroid Prime 4. So we have another console Metroid game since the GameCube finally coming. Well, I mean, you had Metroid Other M. But
is it it's Metroid Prime or Metroid?
Metroid Prime. It's supposed to be Metroid Prime 4.
Okay.
Supposedly, like a new Metroid Prime game specifically is what is being talked about.
Okay.
But those are Nintendo, and then I guess the fourth one, because I did mention, I did mention that there was a fourth one recently. There's been some images circulating. I haven't had a whole lot of time to verify their legitimacy, but people have been kind of talking, and I've been hearing people kind of taking it legitimate. There is another Star Fox game on the way. What's interesting is it's supposed to be a racing game because it's like Star Fox Grand Prix.
Yeah, there's more than images because they actually have apparently there's been some talk to people who work for.
Oh, well, that's cool. I think that's dope.
Like there's like not confirmed, but sources within saying that they're working on a Star Fox, and it's called what was the title they said it was?
I just remember it said I saw Star Fox Grand Prix because that's what told me it was a racing. Right. Like the moment I saw Grand Prix, I was like, oh, they're making a racing game, which makes sense. That'd be kind of dope. If shout out to Nintendo, if you could somehow like take Star Fox Grand Prix and almost make a spiritual successor to Diddy Kong Racing, that would be dope.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's made by the same people who made that, so they can make. They made that. That's they can make a card game, so it wouldn't be, hard to translate. Super interesting. Yeah. Although, if you're gonna make a racing game, why can I get F-Zero, please? Please.
Oh, let's not talk about that. You already know there's going to be F-Zero DLC for the Star Fox game. You already know it. I'm calling it now. You heard it here first, folks. But then Splatoon 2 will probably get some more stuff coming out for that as well, because Nintendo still seems to want to make it competitive. But Nintendo has like a solid list of stuff. Do I think we're going to get more Breath of the Wild stuff? I don't think so. I think that game has had its time in the sun, and they'll let it breathe. And then we'll probably just see some all smaller stuff. I know Kirby and Yoshi both have a game coming out this year. But yeah, I don't know. I think Nintendo's very big about letting one of their properties hold the spotlight. And in this case, they have 3 that could potentially hold spotlight, with Metroid Prime, Pokemon, and Smash all coming out. But Smash is kind of, to me, the afterthought in the sense of everybody buys Smash, and then do you want Metroid or do you want Pokemon? So I think Nintendo will be all right. Nintendo's all right. I'll see what they announce. I'll be pretty happy with their conference, but if you're expecting a bunch of stuff, Nintendo are the people that are known to,
No, they're in and out with their things. They're gonna do an hour-long direct at best. They're gonna flash a bunch of stuff. I think they're gonna focus on Smash. I think they're gonna focus on also the online thing. I think that's what you're gonna get a lot too. You're gonna get a lot of Smash. You're gonna get a lot of details on the online system that they have. Then you probably will get I don't know, whatever's up, at least between. Well, probably get a lot of Bayonetta too, Bayonetta 3, because that's probably one of the games that are closer to being out than anything. Yeah, I don't think Nintendo's going to go balls to the walls and just slam you hard with release dates or anything like that. But I do think Smash, they're definitely going to announce when that comes out, and it's going to come out probably. My speculation is September. I feel like they want to get it out before the tournament season starts to kick in really big again, especially with Evo coming up, around the end of the year.
September. When did the other ones come out? That'd be really hard though. If you're announcing the game in June,
I think Nintendo's the type of people who that shit might come out in July. So fuck.
Nah, it'll be playable at Evo. I think.
But no, I think they do want to get it out before, so they can at least get people on the Evo train and have the demo at Evo and all that. But maybe they will do that. Who knows?
See, Smash 1 came out in January. Melee came out in December. When did Brawl was a February, March release, right? March in NA and January in Japan. So yeah, I think we can look towards a later in the year. I think September might not be too bad, but they might wait till holiday season to really try to push switches. The last one came out in November. Yeah, I think they're gonna probably wait closer to the holiday. Just to, give people another reason to buy a Switch. Like they did with Mario Odyssey last year, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you might see Metroid, maybe the Pokemon game a little bit earlier, or they could drop Switch early and Smash Switch early, and then use Pokemon or Metroid for a holiday game. I don't know.
Nah, I think they might say Smash for the holidays because that's a big push for that. I really feel like they want it out earlier though. No, actually, I say Smash during the summer. Yes, I think they're going to try to catch the Evo wave somehow. And Pokemon for the winter. But that seems to be the best time for them.
Definitely.
So, yeah. But we'll see what Nintendo is going to do. Next up is Microsoft. What are we expecting from Microsoft now that they've isolated themselves again so that they can...
All right, so State of Decay 2 just dropped. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
We already talked about Forza. We're going to get another Forza game.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a definite. Because is this a Horizon or a regular Forza year? I forget which. I always
think it's a Horizon year.
Okay. So yeah. All right.
Crackdown 3, I think, is going to be talked about.
I feel like they have to. You know, I don't know if they want to.
So that we know that the game isn't dead.
Yeah, I feel like they have to release it this year. It's now or never.
Talk to Sony about Last Guardian before you say now or never.
No, the only reason I would say now or never, because this was a game that you banked your whole like console or kind of around, you know, the whole like the cloud makes everything more powerful. And one of the games that really hyped the idea of the cloud was Crackdown 3. They talked about how it's going to allow you to have all this level of. I understand, but enough people are here like me. I'm sorry to be the asshole to remind people that this was the game that they lauded as this technical, like, was just going to show the technological advances that were featured in the Xbox. And now that you have what you're touting as the biggest, best, most powerful,
it is the best. Now that you are literally the person with the best hardware.
Yeah. So you want that showpiece. And it's like, Sony doesn't have the best hardware, yet from original PS4 to PS Pro, they have shown you like masterpieces, and it's not just a random thing. You have Horizon. I mean,
yeah.
If you were still to talk about visual only, you can go back to the launch with fucking Killzone. That game is gorgeous, fucking beautiful. It's not a great game, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, like I think, but Crackdown ultimately is gonna. I hope Crackdown shows up. I think we will get a release date. I think you're right in that they need to make those steps. I just don't know if Microsoft feels that way. Crackdown has always seemed like the ugly stepchild of their main properties, like not the kid that they really want to push, because after Crackdown 2, where they messed up the game.
Yeah, I get that, but you already did it. You pushed the ugly stepchild out into.
I mean, but you're not going
to celebrate it.
Crackdown may get some time, but ultimately, the things that are going to end up being big this year as well. Sea of Thieves, they're going to probably tout a big content expansion for that. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is going to probably arguably be a bigger title than Crackdown 3. We both already mentioned Halo, or I think maybe that was before the podcast. Halo 5, I think, is going to show up. But last but certainly not least, there are 2 rumors floating around from Microsoft that are particularly interesting. The first being a new Fable game possibly coming to the platform. That would be super dope to see. I forget who was talking about a new Fable game being made. Somebody specifically came out and it gave it some credence as to be like a true thing. And then the Halo should show up at this year. If Halo doesn't show up this year, I wonder what Halo 6 is going to look like. Like, what is Halo 6 going to look like that Microsoft has not shown it off in 3 years? Yeah. Or even mentioned that it exists in 3 years?
Yeah, they honestly haven't even said anything about like continuing that, which
basically it's coming, but nothing more.
Yeah. It's funny because going back to like you said about Gears, I feel like that's really you're really pushed. Although, do they dare and do both?
I only say no because like Microsoft has an issue. Like last generation had helped them that Microsoft had so many shooters, but like overall, that's not a good thing.
So many shooters.
I mean, not just exclusive to them, but they had Gears, they had Halo, they had
that's what Call of Duty. Everybody like to say that Microsoft had so many shooters. Like they really did. They just bought exclusive content, but they didn't.
Yeah, but at the time, it wasn't like old yet, right? Yeah. Or it was still early. So you had Battlefield, Call of Duty, you had all these other things, and because Xbox Live was the most popular platform to play on, ultimately, like they pigeonholed themselves in. You still you can't like the part of the thing with Sony is Sony can be like, here's Last of Us and Killzone, here's Uncharted and Horizon, here's God of War. and Neo. I can hit you with like a bunch of different genres. Here's a Gran Turismo game. They can hit you with a bunch of different games that ultimately are gonna push you as a player and push us as gamers to like try different things and have a wide variety of genres. Microsoft is a lot of shooters and Horizon. Like, I'm trying to think of a big title that Microsoft still has. Exclusive title. Oh, that was the other rumor. There have been rumors that Scalebound may have been bought. Do not get your hopes up. But Scalebound may have been bought.
Okay, now the question is, who's gonna make Scalebound if it's
not Platinum? I have no clue. Who do you give that game to that gives me more faith in it than Platinum? I don't know. Platinum consistently puts out incredibly well, like mechanically incredible games that look and feel amazing to play usually. And with like some of those rumors about Scalebound not running super well, that makes me question if the game is going to even be the same level. There's talk, I believe. There's a couple things. Remedy is supposed to make a game. There's a whole bunch of things I can go into because it's E3 is the one season where I allow myself to read a bunch of articles. Remedy, for those who know, Remedy is Alan Wake and Quantum Break. Quantum Break. So they'll probably have something. They're working on something. I think they said back in January. I think back in January, they came out and said that somebody that worked there that they're working on something. Who else? I'm trying to think of all, like, because now that you said like what did Microsoft have, my brain's kind of going through like what were Microsoft's big titles like 5.
Well, if Remedy comes up with something, it's going to be Quantum Break 2. I don't think they're going to give them another game.
I would love to see an Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake is one of those games.
I say Quantum Break 2, but yeah, maybe, I don't think it's going to be. I think if they Remedy made another Alan Wake, it would be multi-platform. To be quite honest,
that's true. Anthem, Microsoft might try to buy Anthem content to compete with Destiny and PlayStation, because PlayStation usually gets the Destiny content, or has at least since the original. So Anthem might be the Microsoft one. Microsoft also has the advantage of not having to care though, like because Microsoft did their whole all of our stuff is on PC and on our console. Even people like me care about the Microsoft conference because it's ultimately what else am I going to get to play? What else is just going to expand my library on my PC. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is super beautiful, and I can't wait to like play that. If you have not played the original Ori and the Blind Forest, it's so good. Music is amazing. It's just a dope game. I gotta think what else is here. I'll Google Microsoft exclusives because I can't think of any. Like I know there's more exclusives, I just can't think of them. What else is there? Sea of Thieves, Fable, Halo. I don't know. Am I missing any exclusives?
Probably not, but more importantly, part of the issue that's with Microsoft is that
that's multi-platform now, right?
Well, when you think about it, now all their exclusives are actually multi-platform.
I get that. I just don't. I guess personally don't care as much because I'm just like, if you want to play it on a console, play it on a console.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like, again, I'm curious as to what the showpiece for the Xbox One X is.
I think it's gonna be Halo. It's gonna be Halo. Like ultimately.
Are they going to put day and date? Are they still going to stay with the day and date thing?
What do you mean? 7?
You know how like now they've made ever since last E3 or the E3 before, any Microsoft exclusive console game comes out on the same day on PC.
Microsoft Play Anywhere will still be a thing that's maintained.
Okay, so then
I think that's part of the reason why they've taken so long with Halo 5. Halo 5 has taken longer because you have to make it.
That I get. That I get. Halo 6 is going to be,
or Halo 6, yeah.
Do I need to get the console?
But that's the thing. I think Microsoft is banking off of Halo is a big enough property that even people with consoles, myself included, give me a good Forge mode, especially if you're messing with Halo Online. Give me a good Forge mode, and I'll be happy. like through and through.
So if Halo 6 comes out, your preferred platform is going to be the Xbox One.
It's going to be PC.
Oh, that's my point.
But I don't. The reason I don't care about that though is because the people that want to play it on Xbox One is fine.
Yeah.
The fact that they're giving me the option to buy it on PC.
Yeah, I think that's great. I always said that was the smart chat. That's the smart exit plan for them.
It's the idea of like, I think too often, a lot of these game companies or a lot of these game company publishers or console manufacturer and publishers need to start banking more on software than they do on hardware. Because software will sell hardware.
That's the thing.
Software will sell hardware.
But that's the thing. That's why they always have, and that's why they've always had exclusives, because they're banking on that exclusive software to be appealing enough to drive the hardware. My thing is, and it's always been since Microsoft did this, is where does this drive the Xbox One hardware to those who have a PC option?
I don't think you need to, because you're still able to sell the software. Like the idea is,
that's why I say it's a perfect exit plan, because I've been saying this for the last few. So they're not gonna make another Xbox One.
I think not another Xbox One. They'll make another Xbox.
No, I don't think they're gonna make another Xbox.
The big reason why I can think of it. The big reason why I think that it can be a thing is the big reason why I think it can be a thing is that, like, recently I replaced my motherboard and my CPU and my RAM, and I ended up having to buy another Windows license key. And like that is to them, it's depending where you buy it from, it'll be still, it's still like $50, it's still $100+ or a few $100, depending where you buy it from, to as cheap as cheaper.
Why did you have to buy a new key? I'm confused.
Because when you switch out your motherboard, Microsoft generally ties your Windows license to your motherboard. And so when you switch out your motherboard, then you usually either have to contact them if it doesn't automatically switch. A lot of times it'll automatically switch. I buy OEM keys, like I'm an original manufacturer. And there can be problems where they just don't swap over because technically they're supposed to be one use. Even if it's registered.
That's wrong. If it's OME, it's not supposed to be one use.
No,
that's wrong.
The keys, I don't know how to explain. Like it's weird. Microsoft's whole thing was set up. It technically, if you want to win in my Microsoft account, you could see like, hey, here is my old PC with the exact same name and different hardware that was accessed yesterday. Here's a new PC with most of the same hardware except for like 3 pieces. The exact same.
Call them and they give you like that 10-digit code to put in, and it should be fine. Unless they just changed that recently. Did they change that?
To be completely frank, it was like $10. Like,
no, it never cost me. That's the thing.
Yeah,
when did this shit change?
Windows. There's a button in Windows 10 because technically, what you have to do is you register your.
Done this with Windows.
You register your Windows to your account. Like I've only ever had to do it this time. And for me, it was easier just to spend $10 than the wait, because it was like 7 o'clock.
Weird.
You probably like they suggested to call Microsoft support. Like after I tried,
and they just like
I got everything in the PC. I was getting everything set back up, and they were like, "Hey, call Microsoft support to fix this issue." And I was like,
"Yeah." And the free times,
how much is it?
It's been free. Oh,
I was like, How much is a key? And their website, their store was like $300 or $150. I don't know, some ridiculous price. I was like, yeah, no, I'll call them. And then I looked down and it was like 7 o'clock. And at that point, I was just like, yeah, you know what? Bump this. I'll just buy a key. And I got a Microsoft authorized seller that sold the key for $10.
Yeah, you better than me, because we would have been on that phone. Like, fuck this, y'all.
I needed my computer in like the next like hour to do something that I needed to be able to show my screen, and I wasn't gonna be sitting down. I'll be right back.
Yeah, nah, I fuck that shit. He is a better human being than me, because I ain't paying for that shit that is a free service. I don't care how long it takes them to do that, but hey, good for you, I guess. But as I was saying before, like, and I'll reiterate this when he gets back, it's that I just feel like part of the thing is Microsoft's whole software strategy is also an exit strategy, partially because of their management. Their main management are not a fan of the Xbox division. The guy who runs Microsoft overall went after the job with the pretense of dropping Xbox as an asset because he felt like it was costing way too much money. Now it would be interesting to see if they try like the Sony method and just separate the entities. Like completely separate. Like PlayStation is its own thing. It's under Sony, but it's like its own division that's allowed to do their own things without without having to necessarily answer to Sony for the most part. And I wonder if Microsoft will be willing to do that with them, because I just feel like, yeah, I'm excited to see what games Microsoft has. It's just like State of Decay 2. I probably will pick that up, but because I have a PC that's good enough to game, I'll pick it up there. Because I have no interest in spending $500 for a new console. It's just, at least in my opinion, they kind of have devalued their console somewhat. Mind you, I think the Xbox One and the X in particular are great pieces of hardware, you know, from the outside looking in. It's just that I have no real motivation to get one. And maybe that's why I feel like, you know, I shouldn't get too excited about like what's being shown on the Xbox One X, because end of the day, I can get a comparable experience, if not better, on the PC with their software if they bring something that I really find interesting. And generally speaking, when it comes to me and Microsoft, like, I think you know, I understand why a lot of the games are celebrated, and I've talked about this before, but they don't draw me that much. They've never drawn me as much as stuff on Sony. And I guess because maybe it's this quirkiness of Sony, you get like a different variety. You know, don't think that Microsoft's a bad company or anything. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see though. We will definitely see. While Joysticks is away, I guess I will kind of step into now the Sony thing. I've heard people making quite a bit of noise about Sony only saying that basically they're going to focus in on 4 games. Let me pull up the article really quick as I do the stretchy elastic podcast thing. Try to keep things going without dead air, because one thing you don't want is dead air. Plus, I don't feel like going back and editing. I have enough videos to edit right now. Oh, as an aside to things, since I brought up editing, we're going to be doing a lot more as far as the podcasts are concerned. This is the 3rd podcast that I recorded this week. I'll probably be recording a couple of more for Wise Guy Gaming, Sports and Entertainment. I'm still searching for the sports component. I just haven't figured that out yet. The dynamics and who I need to tap for that. Because generally speaking, I don't know a lot of sensible sports fans. Well, sports fans I know aren't able to take a step back from their teams or just generally their overall view of a sport and open themselves to be objective about it. That's the thing. When we do podcasts here, we want people to be as objective as possible. Because I don't like, you know, we're all generally have, you know, similar tastes and things that we kind of agree on, but we're able to be objective enough that we don't constantly agree, constantly believe in the same thing, and aren't able to take a look at things that we're all for in a way that you know, is honest and genuine. I think like I can back off and say some of the dumb things that Sony does, even though I prefer a Sony console. Euro can talk shit about PCs, even though he prefers PC. That's the beauty of the people who I work with. We all, we all have our preferences and strong opinions, but we're able to listen and look at different avenues and different ways of thought, which I really, really appreciate from all of those guys. And I appreciate all you guys who listen too, because you guys tend to like feel the same way as we do as far as like coming at things from a more objective perspective. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments. Please continue up. But perfect timing, because I was just about to transition to Sony. God damn it, I'm good at this fucking stretching. Oh my god. Hire me as a professional broadcaster, please. Anyway. But anyway, we're gonna transition over to Sony. So Sony had on their broadcast had already had Sean Layden discuss the main focus of their press conference this year. It's going to be Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, a lot of people are taking this to say, okay, so that's all Sony's going to show.
They're going to have that little 5 minutes where they show a bunch of indie games like they always do.
Yeah, and I think they will drop something new. They just ain't going to necessarily... Again, I have to tell you.
The quote is exclusive looks and deep dives on 4 upcoming titles.
Right.
So they'll probably lead with one. They'll probably open up, give the PlayStation number spiel, lead with the first big game.
They're going to lead with the game first because they always got to show a big trailer.
Yeah.
To
then we'll get to that. Then it'll break it up into like quarters basically.
Yeah.
And they're also, I'm glad that there's like different genre. We don't know what Kojima's game is, but Spider-Man,
acid trip. That's what it is.
Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, and Last of Us are pretty diverse. A pretty diverse lineup. So
yeah,
should give people anybody that wants something to look at. Plus, which makes me, where are we going to see Destiny stuff?
And within the the roles, they have to do their roles in between. They're not going to just.
I hate when they do that though. Like I get most people are like, I just want exclusive stuff at those conferences, but like, I kind of want more than just what they like. What am I going to be able to play on my PlayStation? Even though I'm not going to play it on my PlayStation. Like what else is going to be there? There will be no new hardware. That's another thing I guess that we should talk about. To those that thought that they were going to be like, we have to beat the Xbox One X, Sony is pretty confident in saying, we just dropped God of War. We have no reason to try and beat out Microsoft hardware-wise.
Yeah, because as I mentioned before, Xbox One X is much better. But then you look at the library and you look at some of the things that Sony's devs have been able to push out. Like, son, can you really name a better looking game than God of War right now?
Not that has the same level of gameplay. I can only say that because like card games will always look ridiculously good, but that's because they're card games.
Right.
I feel like the test is going to be Halo. Like Halo is going to be the test for Microsoft. How well can you sell me an Xbox One X with you can't, but how well can you sell most people an Xbox One X with Halo 6?
Yeah, no, because I have a 4K TV now and I have a PS4 Pro. And fucking God of War performance mode. Oh my fucking god. But the fact that you can just switch and it's still great in 1080p. And then you get 60. Oh my god! Like I'm not a frame person, but I now understand why this hardware is worth having. I would have been fine playing it at 30 frames per second, to be quite honest.
Sure.
Because I don't really catch the game, but Sony has shown like they can put out certain
you sure
stuff of high.
Just
I'm gonna show about the 30 frames per second thing.
Just yeah, you sure?
Yeah, because I'm a story person. I've always been a story person. That's the thing. Like I love 60 frames per second because it's cool for action sequence and stuff like that. But if it's a single player experience, I care fucking less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to play the story. It's like, especially like a game like say The Last of Us. I don't need that shit in 60. I don't need that shit in high fidelity because it's already gonna fuck with me anyway. You know, getting me through that game, no matter in 720p, was hard. I didn't get through that shit on the original PlayStation 3 because that shit is just like fucking too much tension. But yeah, it's just like I can do it because at the end of the day, I've played it through much worse and enjoyed myself. In fact, I was just thinking about that. I'm going to do a video about this, about how I actually enjoyed the frame dips from back in the day with certain games.
Okay, you can. That's a hot take that is too hot for me. I'm just gonna stay.
No, it's a reason though, because I had a strategy with certain games. In particular, it was always with like shoot 'em ups.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was something about when you hit that thing where there's a bunch of stuff and you get to that bullet hell moment.
Yeah,
that fucking slowdown helps you when you're moving. Because I kind of like, maybe it's just me, maybe I just was too into him. But I kind of found the way to like weave through the thing because
you saw the sunlight in that moment.
It made the Matrix type like vision for me somehow for some reason, and that's why it was appealing because it was like, yo, I know how many frames I got. I didn't like at the time I wasn't counting frames because I didn't really understand that. But in a way, I was counting frames because I knew this is the moment. Everything's about to go nuts. You could make your moves as deliberate and concise as possible, and it would help work through some of that shit. Like, so that's part of my gaming nostalgia. It's like, yeah, I look back now and I laugh. I was like, yo, we really went through some shit. But at the same time, in certain games, it's like it gave you that weird, surreal.
See, they're gonna bring back legacy frame rates now.
I wish they would, because I would have loved. I would get super fucking Star Wars today if they did that.
Don't.
Oh my god, the frames on that game were god awful. Oh, but it was so great to see Luke spin slow motion with the lightsaber. Oh my god. It was horrible. It was horrible, but it's just something, and that's how my weird nostalgia works. Because I think like that stuff, it was just like, God, we did some dumb things, and I just like to look back and smile at what we've been through.
Yeah, nah. And
it heightens my appreciation for what we have now.
Yeah,
shit was awesome.
Yeah, no.
Yo, it's the best way to cheat a game. I'm telling you, this is the greatest way to cheat a game back in the day.
I think like the funny thing is with God of War, I'm not worried about anything Sony is going to show off. Like, just show me gameplay and I'm happy. I'll be good. You know, if I had one request, Sony, make that 2 requests. Kingdom Hearts 3, if you want to release a release date, that'd be dope. And the thing
because Square has
yeah, that's true. And the thing that I'm gonna say that most people are gonna disagree with, I actually want a sequel to Order.
Yeah, I do too.
I want a sequel to the Order 1886.
I really want one bad myself. So I'm with you on there. Because most people have realized after they shitted on it and then Sony dropped the price and they got it on sale, they were like, hey, this wasn't actually a bad game. We shitted on this because we listened to what people said in social media.
People out there, just because a game, you can say a game isn't worth $60 and not say that it's complete dog shit. They're mutually exclusive ideas. A game can be worth less money than they're charging for it, in your opinion.
Yeah. I don't agree with this. I mean, we know how I feel about the $60 argument, but at the same time, I'm fine if that's your argument, you know?
Yeah, because that's up to you to decide what is. Same reason why
it's worth your money at the end of the day.
Not everybody goes out to like pay the same amount on everything.
Yeah. You know, you wait for certain foods to go on sale before you buy them. Yada yada. Okay. Yeah, not everybody can go out and just buy crab legs and all that when they want to. But Nah, that didn't make it a garbage game. And this length didn't make it a garbage game. Y'all just took that and ran with it in the wrong direction. And then when you find a player, it's like, yo, it's not a bad game. We shitted on it for no reason. So, oh, what are you doing? Oh no, you don't know this now, but I have a Echo Spot now, and
you just have a straight smart home.
As I told Cardiac, I'm like I follow my Lord Bezos now because I have a Fire TV and I have an Echo Spot and I have a Kindle Fire, so I'm Bezos down.
E3 should be fun. Best surprises would be if Bethesda. I jokingly said this to somebody. Bethesda could take the show from me. All they need to do is announce a new Elder Scrolls game with one caveat. I need them to show it to me on a new engine. If Elder Scrolls
it has to be on a new engine.
If Bethesda dropped a new engine, I would be like, all right, Bethesda, you have my attention. You have my entire intention. Like whatever you want to do with this game, I'm down for it. Because I have seen this.
You don't want the same Fallout and Elder Scrolls engine over and over again?
Tell the horse that's been climbing a mountain for the last decade and a half. If that engine is still fucking...
Yo, I know a lot of y'all love Bethesda, but they're the most buggiest fucking developer in the world.
Bro.
Like, people try to shit on like Ubisoft for their shit. Nah, man. Bethesda invented that shit, and they still hold the crown. I'm sorry. Like, oh my god, it's hilarious the things that they do.
Yeah.
Oh man, crazy. But yeah, I think if they did an Elder Scroll, they will shut shit down Sunday.
I don't think they're gonna do it though. I mean, maybe it's been long enough.
I think they will.
It's been long enough.
I think they've been putting out all these reissues of all these games to just say, yeah, we got another one.
Another one.
Yeah. Although, wouldn't it be funny if they both announced a Fallout 5 and an Elder Scrolls 6 at the same time? That would break people's minds right there.
Maybe then I wouldn't have to explain. I would want them to do that and not switch engines just so I can explain. Like, so which one are you getting? Neither, because both of them are bad. Just want to cause chaos. Just watch them. Huh? What? Why would you say they're both bad?
No, I feel like if they do it, they're going to make a new engine for both of them because I think they've pretty much, they got by with Fallout 4.
Don't talk to the modding community nor Fallout fans about that.
No, but I'm saying they did get by. When I say they got by, is that the gravity towards the franchise itself was able to suck enough people in. It was like, I got you, bitch. And then
they got they thought they had the 69, but they got the 70. And the teacher was like, all right, cool. Just take the credit and leave my class.
Right, exactly.
And leave.
Exactly. So they were able to just skate right by with enough sales to like say, okay, now we hear your complaints, even though you were a sucker in the first place. We'll do right by you.
But what if we put Switch and Skyrim together? Now Fallout 4 on Switch.
Yeah, I think that's what you're gonna see too. I think you're gonna hear Fallout 4 for Switch. Fuck it, just do I heard today there's gonna be a Guilty Gear game on Switch. Guess what's Guilty Gear?
Not the one that is newest. Because that would make sense.
You would be correct, but I want a more specific guess. Just to see how
Guilty Gear sign.
Nope.
Which one?
What did they say it was? I was listening to the podcast. Whatever the name of the first Guilty Gear on PS1 was. What was it?
Guilty Gear heading to Switch, PC, and PS4. Why? What? Who? Nani? I mean, the characters are kind of cool. The art style is dope as fuck. But
yeah, but the original Guilty Gear game is coming to Switch.
there's Guilty Gear from 1998 because it's been 20 years.
Yeah, it was a PS1 game.
They're re-releasing Guilty Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not gonna come. I'm just. We got Street Fighter 30th anniversary coming out. Like, okay,
yeah, but that's a compilation of all the games.
I'm not just accept
this is just them saying, "Bam, you remember what you were playing in 1998? It wasn't this, but you're gonna play it now."
It's a thing.
That's the thing. What's Guilty Gear? The original Guilty Gear that because I don't recall hearing much about that game back in the day.
I can't tell you anything about Guilty.
I feel like Guilty Gear has become a more recent phenomenon as far as fighters.
Here in the West, I think so. This is weird. They're releasing the original Guilty Gear. A game that came out in 1998. Your idea is that it's a good idea. You re-released it in 2007 on the PlayStation 3.
No, this is not coming to Microsoft because I think partially one is very Japanese, but at the same time, I feel like Microsoft is like, we will take this quote unquote L. We're fine without this. You go ahead.
You're dropping a fighter that had a 10-man roster. If this is any more than like $15, it's not getting purchased.
You know it's going to be 30. Come on.
If they do 30, listen to me, gamers. All right. Make the right. No, they're just going to buy it, unless it's Konami.
Nostalgia is a very powerful drug. You remember that. There's going to be enough people out there. Oh my God, I remember the days I played. It's just like why everybody always wants backwards compatibility. It's not necessarily because you're going to actually play the games religiously or anything like that, because you just want the sense to know that you can play it for 5 minutes. Like, wow, that was great when I was a kid, and never leave them alone again because you don't really give a fuck about backwards compatibility. You just nostalgia is a great drug.
No. I'm just gonna say no. Just no. I'm frustrated. I mean, I can't say nothing. The people over at ArcSoft, right? Arc System Works is they have the red side is working on Dragon Ball Fighters, and the blue side's working on Blaze Blue Cross Battle. So they already have 2 fighting games, so I shouldn't expect like another Guilty Gear of any serious. I mean, I guess it's a Guilty Gear game on Switch, but you bought that one and not the other one?
Yeah, why not bring the most recent Guilty Gear?
Because the online for that game is kind of dead.
But
significantly dead.
Well,
like interred.
I'm gonna bank that with the Switch, that wouldn't be your main concern. Plus, if it is on the Switch, it'll be with Nintendo fans that probably didn't play it because they were all had Wii U's.
Nah, you've been seeing pictures of Wii U's. Them things is dustier than a mausoleum.
But no, if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan, you clamoring to get anything that other people had. You know what I mean? It's why people marked out when they said they're putting Skyrim and what's his name on there, because
Doom. No, not Doom. Yeah. It was Wolfenstein or Doom. It was on the two.
With both of them. It's like, because it's like, yeah, we never got these games because we had a Wii U or a Wii. They say so. It's like to be making these deep pulls. I guess for a Nintendo fan, this is all the rage because, like, yes, we get something that we never had before, and we can stay loyal to our brand. You know how fanatics can be. Come on.
Nah, what do you mean? Fanatics don't have any problems.
Yeah, they have lots of problems. One being, like, if you're getting excited for PS1 games, something's wrong with you. Like, if I'm Sony, I'm thinking I'm gonna start selling some of my old franchises that I don't put on my console anymore. I'm like, y'all want to play Bushido Blade on the Switch?
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Like you could shake the controller as if it were a samurai sword. Yeah.
Nope. We left that with the Wii U.
Yeah.
We left that with the Wii.
Yeah. But yeah, that is gonna be. It's funny because this year's E3, I'm not really expecting anything that huge. I just want to see more of what we already know. I am curious as to why Days Gone is not there, but at the same time, maybe they're not high on it, like Sony. I would love for that Scalebound thing to actually be true, and for them to like actually, and to actually bring back Platinum.
You sure that you want that to be an actual thing?
Because I need to see some diversity from Microsoft. I'm sorry.
Microsoft is worried about shooters. Get more shooters and you'll be all right. Just have it so you can release a shooter every year.
Again, that's why while you were gone, I explained why I feel like this whole software thing is their exit plan from console. Because it's just like I already know that like the CEO of Microsoft overall wanted to get rid of it. That was what he ran his campaign to get the job on. Was I'm getting rid of Nokia. I'm getting rid of Microsoft.
I mean,
this hardware shit.
See, so far he has bad ideas. Nokia still made the most durable smartphone ever to exist.
But they were making money.
Most durable cell phone ever.
But they weren't making money, and that's all he was like.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is money? What is money when you literally release a cell phone that you? Speaking of nostalgia, they re-released that phone. Excuse me. They re-released that phone, like the famous Nokia phone.
That's funny. I just probably the last
like 2018. They re-released that phone.
I feel like it's the last Nokia phone you want because he's been trying to like. I don't know if he finished doing that or he's still working on that. But part of the plan of Nokia was to roll it into the Surface, roll their text into the Surface today, so they can build on Surface. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, that was part of his plan. It was like, yeah, y'all just gonna go work on Surface devices. Fuck this goddamn cell phone shit. And same thing with Microsoft gaming. He wants to get rid of that shit. And I feel like they gave him a bone when they did the whole we'll put our stuff on computer too to calm him down. But I don't think he still wants to keep Microsoft because they had 3 iterations of the same console and they still don't feel comfortable enough talking about their sales numbers.
Just make more games with Microsoft, you'll be fine.
Well, that has always been my argument with Microsoft. I felt like if they had if they would have kept it a diversification plan, like they kept touting when the Xbox One was first introduced.
But anything with a better place. Anytime when it first came out, everybody hated everything about it because always online DRM is the worst thing to exist ever. It's not good.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. They weighted down the TV stuff and that bullshit.
I mean, it connects.
But at the same time, I was loving the fact that they were like, we got 14 studios working on all these games. You got games like D4, which they came up with part 1. Where's the other 3?
Don't ask questions.
Exactly. Scalebound, boom. You see that fall apart.
Don't ask questions.
And there's a few more games I can't think of the titles, but it's like, yo, y'all are really trying to diversify your portfolio. The Fable thing, all that. Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
Really looking, and then they just shut down everything. It's like, yeah, about that. Yeah, so.
I don't know. Microsoft, everybody, I think this year's E3 will be fun because it's going to be a lull, boring year. It's going to be a year with a bunch of shit going on.
So you're calling it now Xbox One X1. New console, Xbox X1 X1.
Are you just gonna keep tossing ones and X's out into Xbox out until
Xbox XX X11 X111?
The Xbox One XXX is a very different console than the rest of them, sir.
It's fine. is to be appealing because they can get non-gamers to be like, oh shit, it's porn box.
Yeah, no, let's.
Wouldn't you love to use the power of the cloud for porn, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm actually good.
Yeah. Hey, they do whatever you can to push that hardware. You know, because apparently making the most powerful console and dropping your others to rock bottom prices ain't working. So shit.
It actually is. The Xbox One is selling surprisingly well.
Yeah, but well, I guess part of the reason is they so slow out the gate because I think somebody put up an article where some company actually exposed their sales. I think it was EA actually mentioned their sales. I have to look that up, and the numbers were like still below 2-1 to Sony, and Microsoft was kind of upset about that.
I mean, I don't know. I think people care. Like the issue is that if Microsoft could get over their sales, they'd probably be all right.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Don't worry about your sales.
Yeah, I feel like they need to adopt Sony strategy where Sony was like, okay, we're going to set a decent price first, and then we're just going to focus on software, and we're going to put out a diverse amount of software to attract people. Because once PlayStation 3 went to $300 or $400, I think it was at first, and they just started rolling out all the games. Like, you know, after the year they came out with Uncharted 2, they lowered the price and they kept coming up with like new Infamous, Last of Us, and just all these other exclusive games. And they just kept, pushing the software thing. And that's part of the reason why I think Microsoft's strategy doesn't work. Because yeah, you got the most powerful console, but Sony did too last generation. And how'd that work out for them? Yeah, so that shit's not necessarily the end all be all. I know people are a lot more into the console specs and, you know, the different measurables like frame rates and, you know, all of that. But I don't, it's just like me building a supercomputer and then there's no games for me to play.
You know what?
You know what I mean? Like you have to have the content to help carry that. You can't just do all the heavy lifting with the I'm the strongest. Sony made that mistake and they overpriced as well, which didn't make things matter, and they paid for that shit. And I feel like Microsoft is kind of going through the same.
But that's the thing. I always say Microsoft. The issue with Microsoft is you're like 2 generations behind every other company you're competing with, at least a minimum of a generation to 2 behind.
Yeah, but I don't buy into that because Nintendo's the only one too that sticks with what they've already been doing. Sony dumps properties and come up with new ones every fucking generation. Like they aren't afraid to abandon things and try something new software wise. That's another thing I think. I think Microsoft tied their identity so much into Xbox One and shooters. I mean, not Xbox One, but Xbox Online and shooters. That when that wasn't necessarily the end all be all, when other people were able to make more comparable things, you know, not as good maybe, but at least comparable enough.
I think they don't have an eye anymore. Like if they had been the people to grab Fortnite, we'd be having a much different conversation.
Maybe. Like I just think that there's selling points to me. They need to expand. Because I think the majority of people would prefer to be on Xbox in this country, at least in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, that's true.
But Microsoft's not doing anything to make them stay.
But I don't know. I feel like Microsoft realized ultimately the console war is a detriment to the console.
Yeah, so, it is.
Consoles, and so they just decided not to play the game this time.
But you know, Sony doesn't really play the game either. You know, it's like, yeah, they did the Call of Duty bullshit and Destiny. But what other things do they really push the envelope on to throw it out there? You know what I mean? I felt like the Call of Duty thing was more of them just being petty.
Probably.
Because they don't push that. It's not like, I mean, they mention it because they feel like they need to, but I don't feel like it's something that they it's not what they tout. They still tout their games over everything else.
But I mean, that's what I mean by like Microsoft just being behind. Like, ultimately, Sony's first generation, they ended up with what Spyro was. Was Spyro the face of Sony?
No, it's Crash. Crash. Remember the commercial with Crash?
No, I don't remember. I was like 3.
Fuck you.
That's okay. So
those commercials are awesome. They were petty.
PlayStation 2, like PlayStation 2, I don't like PlayStation. I still don't feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like Microsoft is in its 3rd generation, and I think they're now starting to diversify, which is fair to say. Like, what you would be considering comparing the PlayStation 3 to the Xbox One X, and there's a lot of similarities there. The only thing that Microsoft doesn't have is as many properties, but you can argue they're working in a much more crowded space than Sony had to. So they don't have as much room to, they don't have as many people to offer, like to grab up and be like, hey, work for us exclusively. But they still had things like, they have a lot of smaller indie games, but they don't have franchises that they can bank on the same way Sony does. And even still, things like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy are all multi-plat now. Like, a lot of stuff that used to be super exclusive isn't.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they'll do too badly. They just have to find, they have to learn how to market other games that aren't shooters. I think is a bigger thing. How do you sell a game that's not Forza and not a shooter on a Microsoft platform? How do you sell a major RPG on a Microsoft platform?
You gotta like slowly condition your crowd, because that's another thing. I think that the Microsoft audience is attuned to that stuff.
Yeah.
More than anything. So I don't know. I would love to see them make this like huge turn, but I think
you and all these turns.
Huh?
You and all these turns. You're just a fan of turns, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Like, I would like to see people make the turn for the best. Sorry.
Nope. No turns here. Just failure.
No. That's why I say they got a good exit plan, though, with the whole putting Xbox Live on PC, because shit, you can still maintain your base. And a lot of people are making the jump to PC anyway. You can still people, if you got a PC, if you're jumping off the console thing, but you used to be an Xbox person, you can keep your Xbox Live account on Windows 10. And you can keep all your achievements and all of that. And the Microsoft exclusive games, you can play with your friends.
Yep.
Yeah. And now that he puts Discord on Xbox, there you go. You can communicate with them.
Microsoft be all right. Everybody will be all right.
Yeah, I still think that like through consoles.
That is until 3 years from now when we have a video game crash and video games become outlawed.
There's not going to be a video game crash, but yeah, Microsoft's going to stop making hardware. I still.
I think we got at least one more Xbox.
You think so?
Yeah, one more Xbox. More Xbox.
Let's see. I would be pleasantly surprised to have no issue being wrong with that, to be quite honest. We shall see.
I think the only time we're gonna stop getting consoles is when
I'm not saying we're gonna stop getting consoles.
I'm saying getting consoles from them is when they can make them upgradable. If Microsoft can find a way to make a console that they can upgrade, and they only have to release a revision like every so often, when like technology has made a big enough jump, then I think they will slow down the production schedule even more. But until then, I don't think they have an issue with selling how many Xboxes they are.
Yeah. You think that will work?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Steam box all over again.
Nope. I think that what you do is you treat it like a cell phone. Like we had this conversation before.
Well, they've been doing that, treat it like a cell phone thing. And again, like
No, but you gotta treat it like a cell phone in the sense of like assume somebody's not gonna upgrade for 2 to 3 years and make it just a marketable enough. The Xbox One X it's the idea of with a game console you need the software, and so with the next generation, by the end of this generation of consoles, Microsoft should have a decent lineup. But they won't necessarily have one. Should have a decent lineup, and they should be able to push a bunch of stuff from there. And I think they'll be successful. Hopefully. And then from there, like you just allow people to buy piecemeal buying things will also work. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, I want to upgrade my Xbox," all right, cool. Like come buy the expansion module and rock with it. But I think this generation is going to last a while. We're nowhere near the end of this generation, so I'm not.
Oh no, next year they're announcing Sony's announcing a new console next year. I seriously believe that.
If I can't believe unless like Last of Us 2 is dropping early to mid next year.
Well, no, I take that back. 2000.
They're not. I just don't think. I don't think they're doing it.
2020 is.
I don't think they're dropping it the same year they drop a.
They're gonna do 2020 because I think what they want to do is they want to at least.
Are they gonna do Last of Us 2 like Last of Us 1 did?
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I think they want to nudge Kojima to at least get it out before they do that. And same thing with
get your crazy shit out so that we don't have to deal with the fallout if it's on a new console.
And then we'll just bump it up once we announce in 2020. You know, what's coming out. Although I will say this, if they announce that fucking Kojima game is coming out this year, that would be insane.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. It's Kojima.
It would be in the same pop for them.
My still question is like, what is that game though?
It's a game. It's an art form. It's art. Don't worry about it.
What's that game though? That's the real.
It's a masterpiece from Kojima.
Sure, we'll go with that. But what is the game?
It's a game you know you've always wanted.
But
I'm just giving you what he gives to everybody because it's like
Kojima's dope and like I appreciate him because he's a genius. And I mean like actual genius, not Kanye, not Kanye West genius.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like weary on the use of the word genius for anybody now because the Kanye shit pretty much is ruined.
I mean, Kanye is a musical genius.
No, he's not. No.
I think the word genius isn't. I generally say like there's genius within 99.9% of people. The issue is finding the things that you are so well that you resonate with to such a degree that like it just shines through like that. Like people like the thing that you're basically really good at. Kanye was somebody that was made to make music. The issue is that the other pieces of the person known as Kanye West has a few cracks in it, we'll say.
He ain't really a genius either, but okay.
He's a genius.
I'm just gonna leave that alone. I'm already gonna piss people off when I.
No, we're playing through the game when this game comes out.
No.
Yeah, you are.
But no, I've already pissed people. I'm sure once I put this other podcast out, I'm gonna piss people off socially there with my opinion on This Is America. So I'm gonna just leave that there.
Oh, it's not groundbreakingly different that you just are wowed by it. Donald Glover legit is dope though.
This Is America. Oh,
yeah.
I don't want to say it on here to you.
All right, don't worry about it. We can say that.
I'll say it to you, and you'll probably understand because you're a rational person.
Nah, Donald Glover's like the god of our era. He can't do anything.
You know what? That's fine. I don't have to say it.
I'm joking. Calm down.
I was like, yeah, I gotta pull you back to reality.
You can't. People can't. So that's the issue. I enjoy joking way too much, and like, I will just say some reckless stuff. Except that slavery was a choice. You can't just randomly say that. There's not a phrase in there.
Yeah, This Is America is a dope video, people.
It is a dope video. It also has a lot of shock factor to it, but yes, it's a dope video.
It's a dope video. but it's not a dope song. Anyway,
I don't know about all that.
Anyway,
that's not a big mood. That's not a big mood. I don't know about that.
We're gonna leave it at that. If you want to hear more of me expand on that opinion, feel free to listen to the Reason We're Born podcast, which should be up soon. So, yeah. See, that's how you build heat. Anything else that you wanted to talk about before we close this out, sir?
I feel like Black just definitely tried to group Donald Glover and Lil Pump in the same sentence, and I don't appreciate it.
I really did not. Oh my god! Please don't get me hurt. No, internet, leave me alone. This man is malicious in his like trolling. You just did the equivalent of that lady. Just I just said something simple. You want to call the cops and tell me that I'm fucking doing something illegal?
I'm not even getting started. Lil Pump was jamming out to 1985. Shout out to Lil Pump.
He just set me up. Now y'all gonna be making memes of me. All right.
I'm saying you said it wasn't a good song. I just went with the logical connection there.
I didn't say it wasn't a good song. I just said it's not that great of a song. To be fair, it's okay. It's good in the sense that I get what it's supposed to do, but yeah, I've heard better from him. So. Yes. Anyway, as I go buy myself some life insurance and get a gun to protect myself from all of the people who have tried to at me in real life and on the internet, I want to say thank you guys for watching, listening. Appreciate it. And if I'm still alive, we'll have another episode next week. So I'll say goodbye to the people. You fucking troublemaker.
I don't know what's talking about. I never did nothing.
Whatever.
What's going on? Strix. You already know. Love y'all.
All right, everybody. Peace.